Tina Feinberg for the New York Times. Where did you learn about sex? My personal pie chart: 10% of the credit goes to mom and dad, who taught me that sex was for marriage, or at the very least, for a committed, loving, monogamous relationship that would, God willing, occur once I was out of the house. I'll credit another 10% to sex ed, the junior high health classes that taught me the names of the body parts and explained what went where in the straight people intercourse it was assumed we'd all be having. Sex, I learned, was bad news, every act risking pregnancy or disease. Think Coach Carr's speech in the 2004 movie, Mean Girls: "Don't have sex, because you will get pregnant, and die," which left 80% to be filled in by my friends in pop culture, what I heard on the school bus and at sleepover parties, what I saw in movies and heard on the radio, the glimpses I got of dirty magazines, kept behind brown paper wrappers on the high shelves. But I was a reader, and most of what I knew came from books, starting with a copy of Judy Blume's Forever, that made the rounds of the cafeteria in 7th grade, to the dozens of Harlequin romances I devoured, to the bestsellers by Judith Krantz, Shirley Conran, Jean Auel, Susan Isaacs and Erica Jiang that I snagged from my mom's shelves. I've been thinking about sex education in light of what must by now be the most discussed bad date in history. By now, you've most likely heard about the encounter between an anonymous 23-year-old photographer and the comedian and actor Aziz Ansari. They met at a party, which led to a dinner date, which led to a sexual encounter that she came to deeply regret, she told a reporter, believing Mr. Ansari ignored verbal and nonverbal cues that she wasn't into what was happening. Now that she has gone public with her account, everyone seems to have an opinion about what she did, what he did, and whether talking about gray zone sex, where the man believes that everything that happened was consensual and the woman feels otherwise, spells the end of the. Reading about it all, I realize how lucky I am that so much of my sex ed came from Harlequins. The literary establishment doesn't have much love for women's fiction, whether it's romance or erotica or popular novels about love and marriage. Romance novels come in for an extra helping of scorn. Critics sneer that they're all heaving bosoms and throbbing manhoods, unrealistic, poorly written and politically incorrect. But those books, for all their soft-core covers and happily ever afters, were quietly and not so quietly subversive. They taught readers that sexual pleasure was something women could not just hope for but insist upon. They shaped my interactions with boys and men. They helped make me a feminist. Because these books were written for and consumed by women, female pleasure was an essential part of every story. Villains were easy to spot, they were the ones who left a woman burning and unsatisfied. Shirley Conran's Lace features a heroine telling her feckless husband that she'd used an egg timer to determine how long it took her to achieve orgasm on her own and that she'd be happy to teach him what to do. At 14, I never looked at hard-boiled eggs the same way again. The books not only covered blissful sex but also described a whole range of intimate moments, from the awkward to the funny to the very bad, including rape of both the stranger and intimate partner variety. Beyond the dirty bits, the books I read described the moments before and after the main event, the stuff you don't see in mainstream movies, where zippers don't get stuck and teeth don't bump when you're kissing, the stuff you don't see in porn, where almost no time elapses between the repair guy's arrival and the start of activities that do not involve the clogged kitchen sink. Objectification doesn't exist just in porn, of course. So many men cannot get their heads around the idea that women are not first and foremost sexual objects, the novelist Jenny Cruzy told me. You don't get that from porn, you get that from a persistent worldview modeled by the men around you that you've been taught to admire. I have no idea how much, if any, X-rated material Mr. Ansari or his date consumes. Statistically, we know that modern men and women have access to every kind of explicit material, literally in their pockets. And watching. One recent study found that 79% of men and 76% of women between 18 and 30 look at pornographic websites at least once each month, while another showed that 3 out of 10 men in that age group were daily viewers. Sex might be easy, but relationships are hard. And a 400-page novel can teach you more about them than any X-rated clip. Fiction has time to draw a deeper picture, covering the getting-to-know-you stuff, the starts and stops and circling back that take boy and girl from first date to first kiss to the moment where they're both naked and hopefully into what's going to happen next. Romance novels teach readers that all partners are